Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to FRS Season 6. We are here with PC Division 2, Round 4. We go to the Red Bull Ring, Spielberg, Austria. It's been featured in all 6 of the FRS seasons so far, so it's a track that drivers are very familiar with. But in case you need a refresher, here it is. 4.3 kilometers around, 2.6 miles, just 10 corners, but 3 big, long DRS zones, providing quite a lot of overtaking opportunities. And those 10 corners, they can be quite a challenge on their own. It's the quickest lap on the FRS calendar. In Div 2, we're going to expect well under 65 seconds for the laps in qualifying, maybe down into the 63-second range. Biggest action zone, turn 3, uphill braking into this sharp hairpin after a very, very long DRS zone. So plenty of overtaking opportunity here. And of course, back to back right after it, you've got another DRS zone and another overtaking opportunity. Turn 4, downhill braking this time, allows for those back and forth battles to continue between the drivers. The soft, medium, hard, as always, the medium being about half a second a lap slower than the softs. The hard's just 1 second per lap slower, so they are a very viable race tire. And in this 36-lap race, the hards can do 34 of it in green flag conditions. The medium's 23, softs only about 12. So you likely won't see too many of the soft tires in race conditions. Here is your current provisional championship tables. If there's any adjustments after round 3 stewarding, it hadn't quite made it onto the table. Not yet because, well, I had to make these graphics before that. But Coral, current championship leader, ahead of the Mercedes of Millo. But drivers are now just about getting out onto the track and getting their qualifying runs started. We've got a few people who have not set their player names. Once again, Flashy on the furthest around the track so far. We will grab them up. We will hide the UI. And actually, Dr. Zados has gone a little bit quicker. They're showing purple in the first sector, and the Alpha Tauri of Arc is all going to see a lot of greens already to start this one. But first around the track should be Flashy making their way around turn 4, and they are really getting closed up on by the Red Bull of Zados behind them. I think Zados is carrying so much pace, they may impede their own lap. Yeah. Instantly goes purple, and Zados is going to be in a position where his final couple of corners are compromised. Somebody else has gone purple in the first sector. We don't have that yet as we are looking at the 3 times that are furthest around. And Zados is around. Speaking of around, big spin out of turn 9 there. Looks like they've managed to stay out of the way. 106.1 for Flashy first across the line there. Gali's going to find their way through. No, scratch that. And we've got a couple. Lord Volk has gone purple in the middle sector. We'll jump on board with them as the times fall in. Arc goes the first into the 105s. Lord Volk is going to cross the line, go provisional pole with a 105.3. Archduke Oregano has gone purple in the first sector. Can they have enough pace through the middle sector to challenge for that pole position? Here they come across the line. Where do they go? P3, a 105.5 for them there. Next up, Ruprath making the back-to-back. That rear light flashing. They are crossing. They go into the 105.6s. So a good lap for Ruprath there. Millo next across the line in the Mercedes P5 for them. Cruzo crosses the line, goes a 106.7, not usually your qualifying specialist, but has shown a great race pace at a few of the events so far this season. Next up, we're looking at Riemann as Arc is on their way into the pit lane. Coral has gone purple in the first sector, so looking to set the fastest lap of the session. Riemann, though, is going to be the first one we'll see crossing the line before that. Here they go, coming across. They're going to be into the 106.2s. Next we'll grab, if I can grab the right number, Coral. There they are. Cross through turn 9, and aggressive turn, as they did have a little bit of connection problems in there. 2 purple sectors as they seem to be a little bit out of sorts, but first to go into the 104, so a tremendous lap there puts them on provisional pole. Pinashiro going to be the next one, as looks like I might be getting a little bit of spectator side lag. I think that's just about sorted itself out at this stage. As things seem to be smoothing out a little bit. Pinashiro going to come through turn 9. You can take that curve, but you got to commit to it. And then here comes Pinashiro out of turn 10, trying to stay within track limits, keeps the car on track, and goes up into 5th overall. Next up, we will grab Flashy, who is improved on their second lap, goes into the 105.5s. Riemann is into the pit lane, Coral is into the pit lane, and it looks like we are just got everybody coming into the pit lanes. We'll take a little bit of a breather after quite a sharp start there. Coral, the only one provisionally into the 104s, a 104.8. As Lord Volk is the next closest at a 105.3, so about a half a second the margin between them. Cruzo looks to be on another flying lap this time around, has improved 0.3 of a second. Oh, but lots of curb. Somehow the track map has not gone red. They appear to still have a semi-valid lap. Nope, they are into the pit lane, so that is curtains for that one. Milo is going to cross the line and does improve. Didn't see them on the flying lap. They were yellow in the first sector, personal best in the second, and they go up into P4. So a good drive from them there, and they are the only one at the moment that would be on anything considered a flying lap. So we will just relax as just about everybody is starting to get back out onto the pit road, or off the pit road there, as Arc, Archduke, Dog all on their out laps. We will grab it. Looks like Arc is going to be the furthest around the circuit at this point. We'll go for an onboard lap with them this time and see how they navigate their way around the Red Bull Ring. DRS open as they head up towards turn 1. How much of the curb are they going to take? A fair chunk of the curb on the outside, a bit on the inside. Oh, big snap of oversteer. They've managed to keep it out of the barriers. They've managed to just about keep it out of the wall. So lucky for them to not crash. We'll grab Dog now, who is on a flying lap and has improved through their first sector. Takes a little bit of slipstream off of that Alpine. It looked like coming through. Now turn 4, we'll see how they check up at the second sector split. Is this going to be a lap time that can challenge for pole position? Keep an eye out on their own individual splits. Only about 0.3 of an improvement. So they are looking to slot in right around just ahead of the other Haas of Ruprath. But Dog working their way through the final 2 corners. Stays just about inbounds on this one. Around, oh, big snap, and they've invalidated. They've invalidated their lap by going wide in turn 10. We'll grab Gali next, who is the furthest around the track on a valid flying lap. Personal best in the first sector. And then we've got Dr. Zados following them up as a Williams has just started up. A P15 Williams, that will be 86 Hero. Gali personal best in the second sector as well, so looking to find some time. It should be, Gali's natural pace should be somewhere in the 105, mid to low 105s. They've caught the rear end of Wellside's Lad and they've had to back out. So that lap thrown away as they caught the tail end of of Well-Sized Lad. So no improvements for Gali there. Zados, though, improves, nearly cracks into the 104s, a 105.065. We'll grab this Williams. It's a little further around. X86 Hero looking to set their first valid lap time of the session. Unsurprisingly, 2 green sectors, as they do not have a lap time set just yet. Stark has reconnected to the lobby. Madsta is in as well. We're looking to see, they should be on a flying lap relatively soon, according to the timing screens. P15 to P11 goes 86 Hero. We'll grab Arc, who is on a fast lap, has improved in both of their sectors. 2 green sectors you can see there. And now across the line they come. And they are going to jump their teammate and improve by just a little bit. Archduke Oregano, the next one across the line, goes P4. So a 105.2 jumps both of them. Gali now faster through 2 sectors again. This time going to set that valid lap time. Where will they place on the timing tower? And it is the mid 105s. So 105.6 puts them just inside the top 10. Stark next across the line in the Mercedes goes P11. Madsta on his back-to-back duties goes up into 10th. We'll grab Riemann, who is on a flying lap here, just finishing up, goes up to 13th. And that should be pretty much everybody that's on valid flying laps at the moment. So we will, the Red Bull dodging some cars off the track there. We will see if anybody else is improving on a valid lap. It appears no, they have backed out. And just catching the spin of Lord Volk there right as we get on board with them. So they were certainly pushing it on a flying lap, but that is definitely over now. And they are going to cross and have their time just taken off the board there. There is Cruzo, personal best in Sector 1 on a push lap. Does improve in Sector 2, so finding some time, but invalidates once again. So runs over the apex curbing of turn 8, just grabs a little too much. And that is curtains for that flying lap there. Ruprath is coming into the pit lane, runs a bit wide on the entry bit there. But definitely not an ideal situation for the Alpines this week. That is for certain. For certain? Certain. I was about to say for sure and certain and mix them up. But in the pit lane, as everybody, Zados is going to be one of the early ones on a lap. Dog, I believe, is actually furthest around on their outlap. We will once again jump on board with Dog and attempt to see how they navigate their way here around the Red Bull Ring. ERS on full deployment mode on hot lap. It looks like a snap of oversteer, although can't really tell. We'll just have to see what the timing bears out for it as the clock is ticking away. Takes quite a bit of curbing on the entry to apex of turn 1. Opens that corner up quite nicely, and now down, taking the shortest path, hugging the right side as the track wanders right to left. Lots of curbing taken there. An improvement by about 1.5 tenths through the first sector for Dog. Still going to have to find over a second in order to get themselves up towards pole position. Once again, using that well opened up racing line, straddling the curbing to try and set the best angles they can get into the middle sector. Gets it down to the apex of turn 6 rather nicely. Crosses, has found 0.6 of a second this time, and is now on their way. So 0.6 of a second should put them right inside roughly the top 5. Can they find some time in the final couple of corners? Valid through turn 9. On the exit of turn 10, keeps it inbound. DRS is open. Where do they go across the line? P2, just a couple of hundredths behind none other than Coral. We'll grab now the Alpine of well-sized lad, who has found a couple of thousandths in their first 2 sectors. If they can have a good final sector, they may be able to jump a position or 2. And they don't find too much extra time. Yellow sectors for Lord Volk and Zados. Zados, though, improving through the second sector. So Lord Volk crossing line, getting a little bit of a tow. And no, Zados has invalidated that lap. So we will now grab Flashy, who is next furthest along on a flying lap. Personal best in Sector 2. No improvement in Sector 1, though. We'll see how they manage. And no, they've bailed out of the lap, and into the pit lane they come. Cool. On fast lap, but no improvements through the first 2 sectors. Can they go faster through the final? No, they cannot. We'll grab here the Haas of Ruprath, who's put in a purple Sector 1. So a surprise fast sector there for Ruprath, jumping up and really taking it to them. We'll keep an eye on the timings of well-sized lad as they have gone faster in their second sector. They're just a little ahead of where Ruprath is here on the track. But another personal best for Ruprath. Can they find the time they need in the third sector to improve up the grid here? So a good first sector for them, a good second sector. Across the line, and they go P2, the next into the 104, 104.9. So both Haas drivers really putting themselves up towards the sharp end of the grid. Here comes Archduke Oregano out of the final corner up into P3, just 9 thousandths off of that 104 mark. We'll grab Stark next in the Mercedes. 2 personal best sectors for them as they head their way, and they can't wait for the camera to change. Into turn 9, rotate the car, don't run too far wide, find a little bit of braking, slow the car just enough to keep it in bounds. Around they go, across the line goes a 105.0, so tight the field is up at the front here. Riemann going to be next up. They are going to come, they've not improved through the second sector. Have they lost too much time? We'll see how they do in the final sector here. And then once they cross the line, we'll take a quick moment and grab the gaps to leaders, because I think we are very close. Riemann does not improve there. We'll take a look at the gaps to leaders. You can see half a second covers the top 9 drivers. very, very close, across the board here. We will continue with Gali, who has set a personal best in the first sector, has not improved in the second sector. Cruzo, once again, you can see with 2 green sectors, but will they once again, as Gali does cross the line, it goes up to P12. Cruzo this time is valid, crosses the line, goes up into 11th place, so they've made their way a little bit further up the grid this time around. Riemann is on a flying lap, personal best through sector 1. And crossing the sector 2 split has lost a little bit of time. They're just over their previous best lap time. So if they can find a little bit of time. No, it looks like they've bailed out of that lap. We will grab Milo next, who has found a little bit of time in the first sector, it appears. However, they managed through the second sector, still right on about that just shy of 2/10 improvement. Now, with how tight it is up at the top here, 2/10 could jump them a good 4 or 5 positions. If they can hook up a good final sector, they could find themselves right up near the sharp end of the grid. So it looks to have kept it well in bounds. Runs out on the curbing, crosses the line, and just improves 1 position. So another couple hundredths would have gotten them up into P8 ahead of Arc, but no further they go. Flashy has improved through Sector 1, improves through Sector 2, so they're looking to improve. They are within 1/10 of several drivers now, so if they can carry that 2/10 up into the final couple of corners here, staying within that track limits, very safe on the line there through turn on the extra turn 10, does improve up to P10. Dog has not improved through Sector 1, but has through Sector 2. They don't need to find a lot of time to get up to pole position, just need to find about 1/10 of a second. They are right about on that margin. No, big snap of oversteer. Dog is into the barriers. He's not out, but that is going to be the end of his qualifying session. Not going to be enough time to go for another lap, and Coral holds on to that provisional pole. Well-sized lad is going to cross the line, improves just ahead of X86 Hero. Zados we will grab next. They are just a couple of thousandths or 200ths off of their previous best time. We'll keep an eye also on Madsta, who is personal best through the first sector. But the checkered flag is about to start waving. And Coral is your provisional pole sitter. I believe that is Coral that's Cruzo crossing the line. Does not improve from P13, stays right where they are. Coral has set 2 personal bests in the first and second sector. So they are finding some time, looking to extend their provisional pole. Zados a little slow out of the final corner. Improves by just under 1/10 and is now up into third. Madsta next across the line. They are going to find just about 1/10 of a second. Coral coming across, improves even further, goes to a 104.6 to extend their provisional pole. As far as drivers on a lap, 86 Hero has found some time in their first, but nope, there's the back end of the car around Archduke Oregano coming through, it looks like, through that sector, and is, I think, has had to maybe back out of it on this one. As Hero is struggling to get the car pointed in the right direction, but Ruprath in the Haas has managed to nip P2 ahead of his other Haas teammate. Dog was on a lap that could have put them near pole position, but alas was unable to finish that lap. Checkered flag is waving. Everybody is done with their flying laps. Coral takes pole position here and shares the front row with MML Ruprath, who just got done winning the PC Division 3 race and has immediately jumped into a car and put it side by side with the championship leader of Division 2, Dr. Zados P3, Archduke Oregano in 4th, and Dog rounds out the top 5. Penishiro is in 6th, Stark 7th, Arc 8th, Milo, the other Mercedes, in 9th, and Flashy makes it a top 10. Lord Volk, Gali, Cruzo, Madsta, Riemann, Well-Sized Lad, and X86 Hero finishes out your qualifying order whilst the AI trundles around and gets us back to the pit lanes. There it goes, the end of this session. So while everybody's worried about the Haas curse for Dog, you have to recognize that you got a Haas on the front row. MML Ruprath putting in a tremendous lap to get close to pole position at the time, but Coral extending that gap pretty significantly. Even though they stretched out about a 0.3 of a second gap to the field, it's the top 14 are still bound by a second. That's incredibly close timings for this one. So look for some very good racing in this one. Drivers very similar on pace. We'll take a moment to relax for just a second, wet the whistle, and chill while drivers get ready to load into the next one. Next session, get their strategies and fuel loads all set up, and then I believe I have a broadcast formation lap where we will have to go ahead and mute David Croft again because, well, we don't need to hear him. But it's important to see what's going on the screen. So it's going to be interesting once we're loaded in to see what the weather is going to be like in this session. Of course, the Styrian Hills. Plenty of opportunity for rain in this one. The percentages are usually quite high. We had quite a bit of rain last weekend out in Austin, surprisingly so, as somebody has hit the go button. And the countdown has started. About 20 more seconds, drivers, to get your strategies and tires set and fuel loads. We'll wait for them to get themselves onto the grid, and we will get ready to see what kind of strategies. Typically, we would expect a hard medium or medium hard. Soft tire is not a particularly viable option around here.
And the formation lap is underway here.
Quiet you. So Well-Sized Lad, the only driver on the list on the soft tires. Coral on hards, Ruprath on mediums, Zados on hards, Archduke. So it's a kind of a mix and match of hards and mediums. So Ruprath, Archduke, Pinashiro, Milo, Flashy, Gali, Madsta, and Riemann all on the medium compound tires. Just about everybody else on the hard compound tires. So we will see if Ruprath can make good use of those medium tires early on. The pit window is fairly large. It's to go medium hard or hard medium. There's plenty of opportunity between the two. But we will get audio back on as the formation lap is ending, and the last few cars are forming up on the grid, and we are just about ready to get underway for the final race of this race weekend, FRS Race Week number 4 of 10. Here come the lights. We wait for them to charge up and on and wait for them to drop out. A long hold, and it looks like Ruprath has gotten a good reaction, as has Zados. Coral getting swallowed up by the field. Archduke Oregano down the inside, 3 wide, and Zados has just taken off. Contact between Coral and Ruprath, as I don't think Coral knew that Ruprath had a car on the inside of him. Big snaps of oversteer. Those two drivers are getting shuffled down the field. Zados is up into the front. Milo in P2. Both of the Aston Martins are running P3 and 4. Lord Volk making a move on the inside of Dog into turn 3. 3 wide they're going, and Stark having to take to the runoff just ahead of Coral. It looks like everybody is just about still driving in this one, as Gali is sneaking their way past Cruzo, and we'll keep an eye on the field just a little bit further back. Ruprath getting past Stark on this one, so a nightmare for the front row sitters as they just kind of got tangled up. Didn't quite have enough space, roughly an incident. They seem to be pretty gentle through the corners there, but Madsta and Cruzo are duking it out. Madsta all over the curb, and Cruzo carrying the extra momentum around the outside. Oh, and here we go into turn 9, side by side. It's a risky option. Cruzo just about having enough space, closes the door, and has given actually Coral a fairly good run in this one. So Coral deep in the slipstream, but up at the front, Milo is all over the gearbox of Archduke Oregano for P2. Wants to try and get past in order to start charging up, but they've got another Aston Martin all over the back of them. It's kicking off further down the field, but I just want to keep an eye on these top level positions. Side by side goes Madsta and Stark into the corner, or Madsta and Ruprath rather, but dicing it out they go, as it looks like Riemann is all over in this fight as well. Just a little bit further ahead, you have Stark and Coral once again side by side. Stark on the inside, Coral on the outside. A little bit of understeer from Stark. Coral sweeps around the outside. Who's got the traction down? I think they're going to be about side by side as they get ready to sweep in, but Coral's got the inside and is going to take that position away from Stark as Coral starts to work their way back. Oh, Stark's lost the back end. It looks like just a relatively harmless spin. Didn't get collected by anybody. They're around, but they're going once again. and we'll grab this battle up towards the front. Dr. Zados has a 1.1 second lead, though Archduke Oregano setting the faster lap. We will have to see what tires are going to be better. DRS now enabled as that rear wing is going to flip open for Milo and Pinashiro as they start to close in, as it is for Lord Volk. Archduke Oregano nearly getting into that 1 second margin of Dr. Zados ahead is going to need it. Otherwise, they are in danger of being swallowed up by the Mercedes and their fellow teammate in the other Aston Martin. Looking further down the field, there's still some fighting as Mazda is side by side with Ruth Brath. They just got done fighting in the PC Division 3 race. Now they're right back to it. The drivers that finished 1 and 2, Ruprath and Mazda, now duking it out side by side, squeezing to the inside. Not a lot of space. Oh, and around Wascali, and that has caught out Ruprath. I think there's some significant damage on the Haas there, and the missing front wing of the Red Bull. So Mazda was just kind of compromising the entry for Ruprath, and then as they arrived, Gali was spun in front. There was nowhere for them to go. So an unfortunate series of events. Where is Ruprath in terms of damage? They are catching Flashy. It looks like side by side. Not a great camera angle, and it looks like Flashy is into the pit lane. Ruprath looks to have avoided damage. That may have been a piece of the Ferrari I saw bouncing down the track. But Archduke Oregano now in the DRS of Zados up at the start, up at the sharp end of the field, as it's been going absolutely crazy. Very close in the DRS, using a lot of battery to close up. You can see on the steering wheel, just about 30% left in that one. And around they go. Zados holds position. You've got a train all the way down to Lord Volk. Arc needs to make a little bit of ground to close up to their teammate. Dog still in 7th. Coral now up into 8th, has made their way past their teammate of Cruzo and is starting to try and chase down to get towards the lead of the race once again. Looks like Mazda is once again dueling with another driver, side by side with Cruzo, trying to leave space for each other, but I think that's put Mazda on the curbing and got him a little bit wrong-footed and lost a bit of traction and momentum. Yellow flag, Archduke Oregano is around in the final sector. Can we grab that car? I can't find it. Let's get on board. They're spun, facing the wrong way. They've got to wait for the field to come through. And oh no, they're right on the firing line. That is not the best rejoin. And probably should have waited for that second group to come through, but they are rejoined, and after closing to fight for the lead, they have gotten themselves right towards the back. And now Milo, the Mercedes, unleashed to try and chase down Dr. Zados at the front of the field. Now we'll take a moment, take a look at the race forecast for the weather. Looks to be pretty much dry throughout, maybe a bit of a spitting of rain at the end. If it stays green flag racing, you can typically get these 36 laps done in less than 40 minutes, so that 45-minute mark may be arriving just a little too late, maybe just the last lap or so. So we will see as that develops. Don't expect it to change too much of the tire strategy for either the medium or the hard runners. Milo close up to the back. Whoa, to the inside is Zados. What is that maneuver there? A heavy defense, a big weave, and I think that's done nothing but cost them tons of momentum. Milo in the DRS, in the slipstream, likely with the overtake button enabled, closing up, swings to the inside on the under braking, gets alongside, and is using those medium tires to decent effect. Gonna flip that rear wing open once again as Zados gets a good run. Now this time to the outside. Lord Volk has had a spin out of turn 3. They're dropping down the field, and Milo takes over the race lead from Dr. Zados into the braking zone of turn 4, and now is going to have to try and run away. Stark picks up the first of the track limit penalties in this one, and is likely something we will see quite a lot of. Mazda and Cruzo still fighting. They're going back and forth between the two of them. A good battle between longtime rivals McLaren and Ferrari. Mazda appears to have used quite a lot of the batteries. Cruzo's going to try and sweep around the outside. Ruprath's going to stick a nose up. That door was always going to close. He was carrying that momentum as Cruzo was getting back to the racing line. And it appears that Ruprath has avoided any kind of contact and damage. We don't know for sure. But we'll grab the front of the field again because it's only 3/10 between these two cars. Zados re-attacking in the Red Bull. You can see closing as they head up the hill. Milo stays to the racing line. Zados to the inside. Sweeping around the outside as Milo is going to carry some good momentum. Look at the traction they got down out of that corner, though I think Zados may have the DRS once again in the slipstream. Can they pull to the inside? Jigs to the inside. Late on the brakes. Are they going to just about have enough space? Milo swings around the outside, carries some momentum. Cruzo and Mazda are still fighting, and I can't watch it because we got a battle for the lead going on. But it looks like it has cooled down for a moment. Cruzo and Mazda, once again, Cruzo around the outside, Mazda going for the up and under, and has some momentum as they head down into turn 6. Nose to tail, looks like a little bit of a touch and contact between the two of them, but it looks like all's well. Yellow flags on the exit of turn 3. Once again, Flashy has gone around. That is them getting back to it. It looks like their front wing's still attached, so no damage there. And as we jump around, back and forth, we're back to the lead of this race. Dr. Zados just 2-3 tenths behind Milo, and once again we go. The back-to-back-to-back nature of these 3 DRS zones makes it very... Oh, side by side, I think Milo's just about run him out of room, and Milo is just going to yield that position off. Zados, though, deep on the brakes, has gone too deep on the under braking, and now is going to be under attack from Penishiro, who has got the DRS, has got the good release, and I think Zados had that job just about done, and it's just gone a little bit too deep. Once again, you have Cruzo and Mazda side by side into turn 3. Looks like this time Mazda, though, has maintained the DRS, and that flashing rear light means that that is going. Ruprath still trying to claw their way through, fighting with the AlphaTauri of Lord Volk just in the back of shot there. We'll grab that as Lord Volk slots back ahead and is recovering from that spin that they had earlier. 8 laps done in this one of 36 already as we continue to pelt around the Red Bull Ring at a blistering pace. We'll grab the leaders once again. Penishiro this time closing up to the back of Milo, has Zados for company just about half a second back, and Penishiro has shown very good straight line speed. Gali the next to grab the 3-second time penalty, and look at that launch. Penishiro just eases on by on those medium tires. Same tires as Milo is there. Now, does Milo go for the up and under? No, they've taken the normal racing line. That's going to give them the DRS once again. I don't want to look at the rear wing. Come on, guys. Sometimes Cody's cameras make it a little tough. But Milo is going to have to settle in at this one. They've seemed to be managing their battery power quite decently. Penishiro up at the front has been pushing rather hard. And for once, coming into turn 4, I'm not seeing Cruzo and Lord and Mazda switching positions. However, Lord Volk is now attacking at Cruzo. Gets the inside. Are they going to try and carry the momentum? Not quite. As you come through, you can kind of get up and under if you get it just right. Cruzo now with the head track limits penalty, so that's going to drop them down a place as it stands. And not surprising to see as Ruprath actually eases their way on through Lord Volk. So Lord Volk may have checked up and lost some momentum, and that is going to be a position for Ruprath, who is trying to get themselves back up towards their starting position of the front row. Little move to the inside of Lord Volk. About the same time Ruprath went for one. They both decide to slot back in, but Lord Volk with the launch off the corner. He's got the momentum. Ruprath running low on battery, and is it going to be 2 positions for Lord Volk? 3 wide, they go into turn 3. Lord Volk on the outside of Cruzo. Ruprath just has to back it out, but Ruprath still attacking right there. He's didn't make it 3 wide into the corner, but definitely didn't back out completely. And now Lord Volk up a position. Coral has closed up now into DRS range of Dog, so they may be having an opportunity to attack once again and start clawing their way back up to the front positions. But 10 laps into this 36-lap race, Milo, your big gainer here, 7 positions up, as is Mazda. Archduke Oregano with that spin out of P2 unfortunately drops 10 positions, the most of anyone. And Ruprath right there with them, 8 positions back, as Coral has gotten their ground back a little bit more. Milo and Penishiro actually swapping positions down the main straight. I missed that one because I was too busy looking at other ones. And down into the braking zone of turn 3. Coral has made their way on the outside of Dog. There's yellow flags in the second and third sector there. It looks like Well-Sized Lad has gone around. And I think Coral has just about got that job done on Dog. Ruprath has had has dropped down the order there a couple of spots, and now they're fighting with none other than Mr. Cruzo. The yellow flags for Well-Sized Lad persist as they are struggling to get their car around the track. They seem to be stopped on the exit of turn 9. They're just kind of starting to trundle around once again. But this battle in the mid-pack for what is essentially the last point is quite a hefty one, and Well-Sized Lad really just struggling back there. Leaders coming around to lap Well-Sized Lad. Hopefully they can get through cleanly, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Coral just closing in on this group, and Pinashiro and Milo on both the medium tires. Zados, Arc, Coral all on the hard tires, and around is Well-Sized Lad, I think, ahead of that group, and that definitely compromised Milo's run through that corner. A huge lift out they had to take, cost them tons of momentum, and that is not the way, not what you should be doing if you're a car a lap down. Get out of the way, and definitely don't spin directly in front of the leaders. But now Milo with the chance to try and reattack Pinashiro. 12 laps in, the medium tires are starting to hit that crossover point with where the hards start to become faster. As Ruprath is off the track around, it looks like, trying to go around the outside of Cruzo, ran out of space, has to wait for the field to pass them by and return to the battle. So we'll grab this fight once again. As Flashy and Reben are duking it out. After taking early damage, they found themselves a companion on track, and they are having a bit of a scrap down into to turn 3. So we'll see how that goes for them. Riemann runs wide and picks up a track limits penalty right as we commentators curse them. Milo is falling off the back of Pinashiro just a little bit, and I believe that is Ruprath around once again in Sector 3. So coming through turn 7, that white dot just getting moving once again, and this train is still a train. Definitely still a train. Zados, I think, has some extra bit of grip, and it definitely has the opportunity to try and make a move beyond Milo, but Milo's still grabbing that. Arc has gone deep. Arc has missed their breaking point by quite a while and is into the gravel trap. Luckily, able to rejoin with only a couple positions down and just a little bit of time lost. No damage, it would appear. We'll grab his Stark and Cruzo now fighting it out. Contact as Cruzo is understeered a little bit on the apex. A little bit of a contact between the two. Stark still keeps his nose ahead. Cruzo, though, carrying some momentum around the outside, and now Stark should have that one just about done and dusted. Now has the opportunity to try and chase down 86 Hero for P9. Lord Volk and Mazda, if I can press the right button, as Cruzo picks up 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Lord Volk in a good position to attack Mazda with those hard tires. A little bit of extra life, and in the DRS now. Going to try and close up. We'll keep an eye on the timing gaps, actually, of Dr. Zados, who's going to pull out and go for the lunge. And once again, completely misses the breaking point by a mile. Milo did well to just kind of let that go. Well-Sized Lad retires in the pit lane. Is the first retirement of this session. The only retirement of this session so far. We'll grab the Lord Volk Mads to battle, as that one is heating up a little bit as towards the back mid-pack of the field. And if they can fight a little bit, that may give 86 Hero a chance to close up to the gap. But we are inside the pit window of the medium tire runners. Typically roughly lap 12 to 16 is when you would expect the medium tire runners to come in and swap out for those hard tires. We'll see who, if anyone, is going to be the first to blink. The lead pack comes through, all those dots, and the lead pack stays out. So nobody opting for the pit lane just yet in this one. Just the yellow flags in the sector ahead, as that is that AI car pulling off the track after retiring in to the pit lane. And Milo starting to lose a little bit of ground to the Aston Martin of Pinashiro. Still some bright sun, and as Lord Volk picks up 3-second time penalty, still some bright sun in this one. Not a huge change to the weather forecast in this one. Since I see some of y'all are asking, here's the current forecasted weather. About 30 minutes out before any chance of rain in this one. And usually with only 20 laps or so left to go, we should be able to get those 20 laps in under green flag conditions before the arrival, as Dog is around. Dog has spun in the middle sector and once again is facing the wrong way after pressing on. Coral has closed up to the to this pack as well. Maybe there was a tangle there, but Coral is now part of this train. Milo in trouble, is just about lost the DRS, has it right now, but is going to be outside the detection point. Maybe it was nip and tuck at the line. We will see. Does that rear wing flip open? No. Milo has lost the DRS to Penashiro. And now Zados, Coral are closing on him and are going to start trying to hunt them down. 86 Hero, Archduke Oregano, the first to opt for that pit stop. Into the pit lane they come. And Milo, though, good on the brakes and traction in turn 3. Made a 1.1 second deficit into it. And side by side are Lord Volk and Mazda. Contact between the two. Mazda into the side pod of Lord Volk, and a big wiggle getting on the throttle was Lord Volk there. I think Mazda would do well not to attack here and let the racing incident be a racing incident, and they have done so. And we will continue to fight. Now we'll grab the lead pack once again. It looks like two drivers committing to the pit lane. Aston Martin, Mercedes, Red Bull getting a little bit caught up. So two drivers in, two drivers stay out. Oh, Milo, get on the brakes. Nearly too hard, too much pace into the pit lane. And that was awfully close. Now Coral, after getting caught up in lap 1 incidents, dropping down the field, is once again poised to retake their race lead. On the back of Zados, they are in great spot there. Interesting, Mazda onto the soft tires. A fascinating choice. Mazda went hard soft in the PC Division 3 race. This time, though, going medium soft, and those softs are not going to get to the end. They are likely banking on the rain coming towards the front end of that 30-minute mark as opposed to the tail end. But Milo and Penashiro coming out of the pit lane. Line astern once again, duking it out, and Stark, their teammate, has gotten ahead. We'll see if Stark is able to play some team games for Milo to hold up Penashiro and maybe let a position swap happen. But the lead of the race as it stands, both drivers on those hard compound tires are going to stay out for quite a while now. We likely won't see anybody on the hard tires come in until at least lap 22. Maybe not even until much, much later if the weather is in fact going to be a bit damp towards the tail end of it. Towards the inside goes Coral, trying to make the move on Zados. A little bit of space left on the outside. Doesn't quite come off that time, and they will have to set up to go again. But they've got a very good run into turn 4. Looking inside, makes Zados commit to the outside. Down into turn 4, side by side they go. Coral trying to get the power down. Zados carrying some momentum around the outside. It's going to turn to the inside for turn 6 here. Coral sweeping around the outside, and they are going to nab the lead of this race off of Dr. Zados. Archduke Oregano is out. Archduke Oregano has crashed, and they are out of the session, and that is a full safety car. We have a full safety car called in this one, and, well, it looks like Coral's setting up to come into the pit lane, so they are going to go onto the medium tires, be able to go to the end of this race. That will be a cheaper pit stop for all the hard tire runners. We'll see. Arc is in. I believe Dog should likely come in. And there we go. Pretty much right in that very wide pit window I was talking about earlier. The pit window is open. Safety car comes out. In they go. Now, it looks like Lord Volk and Stark... No, Lord Volk has stayed out on track. Stark is still in the pit lane. Coral is actually going to get to the pit exit before Lord Volk gets there, so they're going to retain P1, as is the Red Bull of Dr. Zados. Arc comes out just behind their teammate Lord Volk, and now they will get gathered up by the safety car. And it was absolutely perfect timing for them. So we will relax for just a little bit and be ready while the field catches back up. Mazda still out on those soft tires, an interesting choice. Flashy is in the pit lane, making a tire change. I believe they've gone back onto the set of medium compound tires they were on earlier, because it only had a couple of laps in it. So they are moving their way out, and 19 of 36, so just beyond the halfway mark in this one, and Coral leads from Zados, Lord Volk in P3, Arc in 4th, Penashiro in 5th, and Milo is in 6th. Dog makes up the top 7 with Mazda in P8 on those soft compact tires. Cruzo and Stark round out the points paying positions, and they have X86 Hero for company. Gali is onto the soft compound tires as well, likely banking on some inclement weather at the tail end of this one. And Riemann 13th, Ruprath in 14th, and Flashy 15th. Archduke Oregano, the only retirement not willingly. Well-sized lad retired via the pit lane earlier. So now I was saying how they would probably just about get inside the finish of the race before the rain came if it stayed green. Well, now we take a look. About 15 minutes until the rain is going to start coming down, and it is going to get coming down hard when it does arrive. So the weather could come in and play a factor in this one. So we will see who is able to make it work the best. We should have Cruzo, who has taken an extra pit stop, is now onto the soft compound tires. I doubt that the safety car will wait for Cruzo to catch all the way back up if he's not at the train, but he's pelting around on soft tires, so easy enough to catch up. We should see the safety car in this lap, and we should be back to green flag racing relatively shortly in this one. Usually in about a corner's time, we will see the safety car in this lap message if it is indeed coming in, and Cruzo's nearly on the tail. We'll keep an eye out to see if indeed safety car is in this lap. We did have a late safety car in this lap call in Div 3, but safety car is now in this lap. So field is bunched up. We'll grab the telemetry of the lead car to see when Coral decides to put the hammer down and return to racing speed. Getting temperature into those tires, they're just kind of edging the pace up a little bit as they approach turn 9. Still holding off, have not gone just yet. They're going to wait until the exit of turn 10, and there they've gone. Full throttle down, away they go, and now it looks like a good release for them. Lord Volk on those old hard tires is going to be in a bit of trouble for tire warm-up. Dr. Zados has managed a decent restart there, and we are off and racing once again. We'll grab kind of the middle of the pack and keep an eye on that as Pinocchio, Milo still in their fight. Flashy, Cruzo has made their way past Flashy already, making good use of those soft tires. We'll keep an eye actually on Mazda, who is on those soft tires as well. Cruzo and Ruprath now dueling it out. As speaking of dueling, they get a little bit tangled with Flashy there. And looks like drivers may have been able to avoid some damage, but not an ideal situation. Another of the soft tire runners that we haven't seen too much of today. Gali in P11, knocking on the door of points, has a 2-step softer compound advantage on X86 Hero. And we will press on to see if those soft tires are indeed going to make it work. Apologies for the menus coming up real quick. I had a very aggressive sneeze that I didn't want you guys to be ear blasted on via the microphone, so I took a moment to 86 Hero, big snap of oversteer on the exit. Gali has gone through, and now Riemann is going to sneak their way past 86 Hero. They're actually going to be back up to speed and fighting down into turn 3. Deep is 86. Riemann going for the up and under. No DRS just yet, and look at that launch. You can get the car straightened, get the traction down, and away they go. Mazda has actually cleared Milo, who's dropped back from Dog as well, and now has their teammate Stark right behind them. It may be an opportunity for a position swap, as Stark is on the softer compound of tire, the faster compound in this one, to try and strike off forward and close the gap ahead. Dog is pressurizing Pinocchio now, just about a 10th off the back end, nearly running nose to tail. Looks like, with DRS enabled, sky's getting a little bit darker. A little bit more haze in the air. The shadows are a little bit less stark. Not Stark the driver, but Stark the color. Contact between Dog and Pinocchio. Too deep. Dog has just collected Pinocchio on that one. just runs straight into the back of him, and now Pinashiro trying to get back going is yellow flags in Sector 1, and they are back on, and oh, I've lost connection. All right, sorry for that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. We should be coming back. My internet just decided to cut out for about 30 seconds. We are back online at the moment. It should be broadcasting still. Let me just make sure. FRS Motorsports. Okay, we should be back underway. Can you all see and or hear me? And, well, we've missed some action, folks. We've missed some action as there's a safety car out on the track, and Riemann is out of this session. Apologies for the internet problem. But we should be back. Stream is running again. And we're under safety car conditions. And the sky is getting very dark. So we went from one collision with Dog and Pinashiro getting tangled up, and suddenly Riemann's out, and we have a safety car that has pretty much already gathered the pack. Granted, the pack was still relatively close together. And it looks like we may have a taker for the pit lane. Lord Volk is into the pits, so finally getting off of those old hard tires. Much needed for them, unfortunately, I think. Depending on the weather, they may be in a little bit of trouble. There is rain on the halo now, so it has arrived. Shows that the SimHub graphic is still not perfectly accurate. It's not perfect. But you can definitely see those streaks of water down the halo, and now the question is, what did Lord Volk put on? And Lord Volk has put on the intermediate tire. This may have been a fortunate masterclass for Lord Volk, as it looks like Dog has driven off track. No, there's a mess going on back here because people refuse to not overlap and just maintain position in the line. But safety car is in this lap. We will grab the telemetry for our race leader, Coral, who leads from Dr. Zados, Ark, Madsta, Milos, Stark, Gali, Ruprecht, Cruzo, and Flashy rounding out the top 10. 86 Hero, Penishiro in P11 and 12. Lord Volk and Dog is your running order. Usually I like to go over that during safety car. I was fixing an internet problem. But, yes, Lord Volk is on inters. Has gone to the intermediate tire. Still working very hard to warm those medium tires is Coral, and they've gone. They are away, and we are back to green flag racing in this one as Coral leads away from Dr. Zados and Ark. Lord Volk has jumped over Dog there, it looks like, is up a position at the start here, and we will see how those intermediate tires are going to be treating one Mr. Lord Volk. In fact, let's go ahead and grab an onboard with Lord Volk and see how they get on with their throttle and brake traces in this one. They seem to be able to attack relatively decently. The track may be in inter conditions. we may be already in inter conditions. If that's the case, then everybody has to make a green flag pit stop to get onto the intermediate tires, and it doesn't get harder. And sideways is flashy, and they've collected, it looks like, Ruprath. Side by side they were on the inside of turn 4 and 5, and that is a big mistake for them. But Lord Volk hanging right with the back of 86 Hero here on those inters. In fact, look at the launch they've gotten, sweeping around the outside. Is anybody going to dare for the pit lane just yet? It looks like pace-wise, Lord Volk is just there or thereabouts. 3 drivers in the pit. Stark, 86 Hero, and Dog will grab the tires and see what they are going to opt for. Inters for Lord Volk still. Inters for Stark. Inters for Panashiro. Dog is still in the pit lanes, getting some damage repaired, it would appear. Inters for all of them. So we are in inters conditions essentially now. We'll keep an eye on Dr. Zados. I don't believe we won't know if DRS is enabled or disabled because we were under safety car conditions and it just won't re-enable the DRS. So the usual indicator of wait for it to say DRS disabled to switch to inters. Nobody's going to know when that line actually is because it's just not going to re-enable. But Coral leads from Zato, still seem to be turning in decent lap times. Lord Volk is starting to work their way up towards Cruzo at a rate of knots though, and Cruzo would be on the most ideal. So DRS enabled. There we go. Clarification. DRS has been in fact enabled for now. I don't expect it to remain enabled for very long, as Lord Volk has taken about a second out of Cruzo in about 3 corners. We'll keep an eye on the battle for the lead now that the DRS is enabled. It looks like Zados has gotten a very good release off of the corner. Hey, we'll actually get the rear wing camera for a car that is defending from another, and later on the brakes is Coral. You can see just that first phase drop back. Ruprath is around on the exit of on the apex of turn 8. Hopefully he's able to get off the racing line before the leaders come through. He's on the intermediate tires. Lord Volk has lost a little bit of ground back to Cruzo, so maybe it's kind of coming back towards them a little bit. It may still be raining. I'll check and see on the onboard in just a moment. But Lord Volk now losing ground. Now the forecast is for the rain to get heavier as opposed to lighter. It is still raining. You are still seeing those streaks of rain. And it may have been a mistake that has cost Lord Volk time to Cruzo. But it seems the dry tires are working decent enough for now, as Zados and Coral are going to duke it out for P1. Zados to the inside. He's been deep on the brakes a couple of times already in this race and manages to get it slowed down this time. Coral's going to have just the nose ahead at the apex, but that's going to mean Zados is going to have the DRS as they head down the hill towards turn 4. Zados pulls out for a second, thinking about the move, not going to get anywhere enough alongside. Coral leaves some space still, and I think that's actually compromised their line by not being quite so aggressive. That is going to switch to the inside of turn 6 there, and the inside turn 7. Ruprath has some track limits penalties to deal with, and side by side they go through turn 7 and 8, and Zados hanging it out and managing to stay side by side for so many corners. Now sweeps across and takes the race lead here on lap 29 of 36. Only 7 laps left to go in this race. The intermediates are not working for Lord Volk. He is not gaining time on these drivers. And even though the forecast indicated that we should see some heavier rain, it's not actually bearing fruit at this stage. Here's the forecast now. Shows that the increase of rain should be coming, but Lord Volk, after making some good headway, as Coral's going to try and re-attack. No, Coral is going to re-attack as Zados once again is deep in the braking zone of turn 3. Has been struggling to get that car stopped in turn 3. Milo and Madsta dueling a little bit, and now Coral is going to have the inside of turn 4. Has been a little later on the brakes than Zados, but Zados sweeping around the outside, better on the brakes this time around, and is looking poised to just about hold P1 this time. DRS is now disabled. DRS has now been disabled, so drivers may be looking to come into the pit lane. Will either of the 2 leaders blink? Staying out is Zados. Staying out is Coral. Staying out is Arc. So all three of them stay out on the track. Milo is out on the track as well. So none of the race's top 5 coming into the pit lane. Mazda on soft tires that surely are about to go pop. Gali is in. Gali is going to come in and get rid of these soft tires. Cruzo has spun, staying out on those dry tires. Cruzo getting his car rotated back around. There he goes. And doing quite the drifting maneuver as they get back up to speed. But that is a huge time loss for Cruzo. Behind now, Gali Gali though into the pit lane though. So Gali onto the new set of Inter tires. Lord Volk now with 13 seconds to catch the pack ahead. DRS is disabled. It's going to make these overtaking opportunities quite a bit harder. As I think Zados managed to pull it off at just about the right time. Made essentially the last overtaking opportunity with DRS, and then it shut off, and Coral was unable to reattack. Now, do either driver come in? Nope, they're staying out once again. You have to commit to the pit lane quite early here. There's Yellow Flag. Ruprath is out of the session. Ruprath has crashed on the exit of turn 10 and is into the barriers. That is a full safety car. A full safety car has been called, and Ruprath is out of this race. And I think Charlie Chibbles may have jinxed it in the chat earlier in this race, saying that Div 2 was cleaner than Div 1 because, well, we've had quite a few safety cars now. Cruzo is into the pits. Mazda into the pits. Finally, somehow kept those soft tires from going pop. Is into the pit lane on to a set of intermediate tires, so we should have some opportunities. Now, we'll just keep an eye out on the race leaders. Surely now, with the rain, DRS disabled, the rain coming down harder, they're going to make that pit stop. They've essentially, all the dry tire runners have, under safety car conditions, a free pit stop to Lord Volk. 18 seconds. They should come out just ahead of Lord Volk. Now into the pit lane comes Coral and Dr. Zados. Arc is going to stay out. Arc has not pitted. Neither has Milo. Two drivers staying out on the dry tires. Interesting choice with the rain still coming down and expecting to get heavier. Intermediates for both Zados and Coral. And we saw last weekend from the lead of the race, dogs staying out on dry tires in a wettening condition and paid the price. Is it going to be Arc's turn if they are not careful to do it, or Milo on hard tires that are 16 laps old? That is quite the gamble to stay out on dry tires. Here's your weather report. 61% chance of rain at the moment, increasing as we continue towards the end. There's only a few laps left to go. Arc and Milo really just have to hope to hold on and it doesn't get any worse. But I think at this stage, the intermediate tire should be the quicker tire to the end of this race. And we may have only about 2 laps left to go when it gets to green flag racing. The field's still not quite bunched up just yet. We may only have a 2-lap shootout. This surely will send it back to green at the end of this next lap. Whether or not the field is bunched will likely be irrelevant. As far as I know, the game will not do any less than 2 green flag racing laps. So expect Flashy to really have to put some effort in to catch this pack up before they get back to the restart. So here you have it, Arc and Milo in the lead of this race, top 2 positions on dry tires. Dr. Zados in P3 with the intermediates. Coral in P4. Lord Volk makes up P5, oldest intermediate tires out there, so even if he's got the right compound on, he may be suffering for age and degradation on this one. Safety car is in this lap. Flashy, the only one yet to be collected by it. We will grab our race leader ARC. We will grab some onboard telemetry, and we will see what he dares to do at this restart. So it could be very, very risky on those medium tires. There'll be a start of lap 35 when we go back to green flag racing. And you've got two drivers on dry tires that are just going to hang on and hope that they can stay pointed in the right direction. It looks like Milo's been caught napping, absolutely caught napping. ARC has gone. Milo has lost over a second already and now has Zados and Coral all over the gearbox. So we will grab this as Zados up the inside of Milo. Coral is likely going to follow through. A little bit of a wiggle of oversteer, and look at the run that Lord Volk has gotten on the exit corner. Has gone a little bit wide. 3 wide they are, side by side. They're making a little bit of contact. I don't think the outside cars knew that they were 3 wide. They thought they were just 2 wide. Side by side goes Coral and Lord Volk for the final podium position. Milo dropping down the field like a stone. ARC now getting eaten up hand over fist in time. He got the good launch off the line, caught the field napping a bit with Milo, but now Zados is in position to just snag this race lead away. And now ARC may be just doing whatever he can to hold up Zados and allow his teammate to try and attack for the lead of the race. Now, Lord Volk is carrying that 3 seconds worth of time penalties, and around the outside goes Zados, but he's had to go off the track. That's the kind of situation where it may get removed. He's forced wide off track. And how is ARC holding the inside line with those dry tires? Zados finally getting beyond Lord Volk or ARC, and now Lord Volk, Coral all slip through as Milo is just all the way out of the points now. Staying on those dry compounded tires was not the move in retrospect. And now you can see Mazda closing on the back of ARC is going to have an opportunity to attack down into turn 3. Can be so much later, but has gone deep. Mazda is deep. Now Gali is going to go up the inside as Mazda tries to rejoin. Side by side is Gali. A little bit of contact as they are 3 wide heading down into turn 4. Mazda just backs out. Gali to the inside. Stark on the intermediates. Oh, they're so close nose to tail. They're bundled up so much as Stark sneaks through. Now Mazda's going to follow him through the inside line. 86 Hero is on the back end. Penishiro is getting involved as well. Here comes Dog in the wet conditions, and my goodness, they are just bunched up so much for these points peg positions. A little bit of contact. I think somebody's got some damage and has come off worse there. Mazda with 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Yellow flags as no, Milo and Cruzo have tangled on the exit, and I think Milo just did not have the traction and has completely taken Cruzo out of this one. That is unfortunate as the race ends. The green flag finally over. There was so much action in that. I didn't even realize we were on to the last lap. Oh boy. Coral comes across and via the track limits penalties is the winner of this race. Lord Volk drops down behind Dr. Zados. I think Zados may be getting that position potentially back. We will have to see what the off-track was. If they were forced off the line, they likely will get that removed. But what a finish. 2-lap shootout. The dry tires were just, well, they're just not the move. Let's call it that. We'll just kind of take a deep breath and wait as the podium gets to load up as drivers are disconnecting from the session. And we will get the full race rundown. But as it stands, provisionally on the top step of the podium is your championship leader. Growing that lead at the top is Coral. Dr. Zados in P2 will maintain that position there. And Lord Volk with the early switch to the intermediate tires has made it work. And here we go. Your provisional results. Coral in P1. Dr. Zados in second. Lord Volk ahead of Ark Gali. Then you've got Stark, Pinashiro, Mazda, Flashy, 86 Hero, and Milo. Cruzo is in P12. Dog in 13th. Who finishes a lap down, even though Dog has had a crash in that last lap and is classified a lap down. Ruprath, Riemann, Archduke Oregano, and Well-Sized Lad are the retirements. But wow, what a finish into that one. Tons and tons of action as it just went all kinds of bonkers. But thank you all for joining me in this one as the chat is kicking off a little bit. And we will be back to racing Silverstone. Is going to be the race next weekend. But thank you guys for joining me. You all have a great one. Apologies for the internet drop in the middle and that missed action. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys next time.